Come on and wake up. Listen with your heart now. See what's going on. We can make it together. We can find a way. Co-creation across the nation. Here and now, find out how with Tia.
Welcome back. I'm Tia Turnbull, your champion of champions. You're watching Keep It 100, and today you're learning nonviolent communication. So, nonviolent communication happens in 4 steps. Step 1, I see. Step 2, I feel. Step 3, I have a need for. And step 4, a request. Now, this all seems very, very simple. 4 steps, easy breezy. But each of these steps has some particular distinctions that need to be made in order for someone to do nonviolent communication in a skillful way. So what nonviolent communication is for is when someone has a need that's not getting fulfilled, and so they feel something because that need is not getting filled, and they need to communicate that to another person in order to make a request to have that need get filled. Nonviolent communication was created by Marshall Rosenberg, and he traveled around the world and helped people resolve conflicts where needs bumped up against each other. People weren't getting their needs fulfilled, and he went and resolved some pretty incredible conflicts that stopped people from warring. What he did was he helped people to hear each other in a way that stopped this right, wrong, good, bad, enemy mind back and forth fighting that just escalates into people warring and committing violence upon each other. So what he did was he created a language, a non-violent language. So when you use this language with another person in order to get your needs met, instead of escalating and fighting and bumping heads, you actually use a language that helps the person to hear what your need is. And you also make a commitment inside yourself to listen for needs when the other person is making a request of you. So let's get into it. In the very first step, a person is going to share something that they are observing that makes them notice that there's a need they have that's not getting met. So, for instance, I see that you left your dirty shoes by the door, right? So you're seeing something and it's making you feel something. You're feeling anger, or you're feeling sad, or something. There's a feeling that arises in you when you see something happen, when you see a behavior someone does. Okay? Now, I am going to be making some other videos that go along with this, but they also hold true in their own light. Okay? And those videos are fact versus fiction. It's when you're seeing something, we tend to make up something about what we're seeing. And the fact is, the dirty shoes are by the door. The fiction is, you disrespected me, or you don't care about me, or you never think about anything. So these are things we add to the fact. So in the first step, we just want to say the fact. And if you don't feel like you really understand the difference between fact and fiction, look at the video that I'm going to be posting after this for fact and fiction, and then you can get a better understanding of that. Okay, and then on the next one, I feel, you're going to be sharing a feeling that arises in you when you see the thing you're seeing where there's a need that's not getting met. So on this one, the distinction that needs to be made is you're going to be saying feelings, not accusations. And there's going to be a video on the difference between feelings and accusations. So a feeling is, I feel sad, I feel scared, I feel angry. Okay, so that's feelings. And an accusation would be, I feel attacked, I feel disrespected. And so the accusation is, so you're saying I feel something, But what you're not saying a feeling, you're saying what I think you did to me that made me feel whatever it is I'm feeling. But I'm not sharing the feeling with you, I'm sharing what I think you did to me. So there's a difference between feelings and accusations. So you want to say, I feel some feeling. And for example, some feelings are afraid, confused, embarrassed, disconnected, annoyed, vulnerable, yearning. Okay, and accusations would be embarrassed, criticized, offended, manipulated, controlled, punished. So do you hear the difference? Blamed, attacked, abused, threatened, violated, right? So these things, these accusations are not feelings. Accusations are, this is what I think you did to me. It's not saying what I feel. So when you say you feel, you want to say a feeling. You don't want to say an accusation. Because the same as when you add fiction to what you see, if you say, I see you disrespected me, or I see you don't care about how the house looks, or I see, so when you say that, what you're doing is you're handing the ammunition to someone to argue back, because you're making up something. But when you just say what is actually there are dirty shoes on the floor. That cannot be disputed. That is a fact. There's the dirty shoes on the floor. But when you add all this other stuff to it, that's where the argument starts. Where someone can say, no, I didn't disrespect you. No, I don't do this all the time. No, see, so you don't want to hand someone the ammunition to come back at you. And just say the fact, and then just say the feeling. Now, someone can't say, you don't feel sad. You don't feel annoyed. You don't feel frustrated. They can't say that because they're not living inside your body. They can't feel your feelings. But if you say, I feel attacked, I feel violated, they'll say, I didn't attack you. I didn't violate you. See, that's argumentative. And that's why you want to state the feeling, not the accusation. Okay? And then on the third one, I have a need for. Okay. I feel sad because I have a need for cleanliness, okay? So they can't say, no, you don't. You don't have a need for cleanliness, or you don't have a need for honesty, or you don't have a need for connection, a need for honesty, a need for meaning. Okay, so we all have needs like air, food, exercise, rest, sleep, safety, shelter. And then there are also needs that everybody has, we just don't hear about them that often, for connection, for acceptance, for affection, appreciation, belonging, cooperation, intimacy, empathy, authenticity, humor, joy, beauty. So these are needs. And when these needs don't get met, then we feel feelings that the needs are not getting met. Now, when we do get our needs met, then we have other feelings like gratitude, joy, appreciation that we feel when their needs do get met. So here's the distinction here. So I feel sadness when my need for cleanliness is not being met. Okay? That doesn't really say anything about you. That's all my experience. I feel sadness when my need for cleanliness is not met. A person can't really argue that. They can't say, no, you don't. You don't feel sad when your need for cleanliness, or you don't have a need for cleanliness, because no one else can say what I have a need for. That's up to me to say what my needs are. I have a need for honesty. I have a need for authenticity, right? So I need people to be honest with me. I need to be authentic in what I say, okay? That's not for someone else to say what my needs are. I say what my needs are. So that's not argumentative. Now, the distinction here is I feel sad when I have a need for cleanliness that's not being met. But my need for cleanliness is up to me to get met. It's not up to you. That's my need. I mean, that person might say, well, clean them up then, you know? And they say, well, I have a need to not clean up after other people, right? So now I have a need to not spend my time cleaning up after other people, okay? But here's the thing. that need is mine. So if that need is mine, then it's up to me. Maybe that person doesn't have a need for cleanliness, right? So I can't make someone have a need that they don't have, okay? What I can do is be responsible to get my own need met. Remember what's in our control and what's out of our control, right? So it's my responsibility to get my need met. And the first step I'm taking is sharing with you that I have a need. Now, you can say, oh, sure, yeah, no problem, I'll take that. Or you might say, I don't care, I don't have a need for cleanliness. You're just going to have to, take care of that on your own. Okay, so then we go into request reply. But first, I have to understand that my need is not your responsibility. So there's no threat, there's no blame, and you're not responsible for my anger. You're not responsible for my sadness. You're not responsible for my feelings. Those feelings are mine because between me and my need not getting met. So that is not personal. It's not personal. It's between me and me. I have a need for this. When it doesn't get met, I feel this. You are not the cause of that. That's mine. I own that. So if you don't change, I'm not really blaming you for my feelings because my feelings are caused by my needs. And my needs to get met are my responsibility. I can make a request of you, but I'm not attached to whether you say yes or no to that request. I know a lot of people say, what? Well, what's the point? Why should you ask if you don't want them to do it? It's not that you don't want them to do it. It's that I can't control you. Not only can I not control you, but I don't make you responsible to get my needs met. I am responsible to get my needs met. And that's why this is not argumentative. It's possible that you will help me get my needs met, but it's also possible that you won't. Okay, so I'm detached from whether it's you or someone else or me or however that need gets met. It doesn't have to be you. And that's something that in the science of mind they call outlining. And I'm going to do another video on that. Outlining is how you think you have to get a particular need met by a particular person. This is what happens when stalkers, they say, you have to be the one. I need this, and I want you to be the one to meet that need for me. And so they stalk people because that person doesn't want to. Or you need a particular house, or you need a particular car. Now, you can get everything you want in life, but maybe not from a particular person. Or maybe not, you won't get that particular house, but you will get the needs met some way. Just maybe not from a particular place. And that's when you, outlining is when you say it has to be this one, this day, this place, this time, and that has to be it or nothing. Okay, so, and I'll talk about that on another video. Anyway, okay, so I'm responsible to get my needs met, and then I make a request, okay? And the request needs to be a smart request. It needs to be specific, so you know what I'm asking for, like set your shoes outside the door, or clean your shoes, or bring your shoes up to your room, or whatever. You don't leave the shoes there. Take them somewhere else where I'm not going to see them, okay? That's clear, okay? That's a clear request. It's specific. It needs to be measurable. It needs to be, you need to have accountability and have it be achievable. Have it be realistic and with a timetable. So my request might be, will you please pick your shoes up within the next hour, right? So in an hour I can check, and if the shoes are still there, if you said yes to me and the shoes are still there, I know you didn't keep your commitment to my request, okay? If I say that I would like you to pick those shoes up sometime between now and next week, well, then we wait a week and see if the shoes are still there. Or not put your shoes there anymore. And then if I see them there again, I know you didn't keep your commitment. Okay, so the SMART goal, what it does is it gives you the opportunity to have a clear and measurable goal for yourself if you say yes to what I'm saying. And it gives me the opportunity to know that it was done and when it was done, that it's clear. Now, if I didn't give you a specific goal, if I just said, well, don't disrespect me, or be nicer, or be happy, or something, how's that measurable? How am I going to know if you're happy? How am I going to know, how are you going to know if you're disrespecting me? It's not specific. It's not measurable. I haven't given you something clear to do. Pick up the shoes, very clear. Clean the dirt off the floor, very clear. But be nicer, there's no clarity, it's not measurable, and how do you put a timetable on that? Be nicer to me within the next 5 minutes. Be nicer to me for now and evermore. You're not going to be able to know. So there's never going to come a time where you say, thank you so much for doing that, because you don't know. It's not clear. They don't know what you're requesting, and you're not going to be able to tell. You're never going to say thank you, because you're not going to know when it's done. It's got to have a timetable on it. It's got to be specific. It's got to be measurable. And then realistic. You don't want to say, never wear shoes again for the rest of your life. I don't know. You don't want to say you should never have dirty shoes, or something that's just way too much. It needs to be something realistic that somebody can get done, and when you see it get done, you can thank them for it. Okay. So another video is going to be on request and reply. Okay, so it's really interesting, because these fact and fiction, feelings and accusations, knowing it's my responsibility to get my needs met, and request reply, these are all videos within themselves. These are teachings within themselves that don't just work with nonviolent communication, but have attachments to other things like request reply. This has to do, you could also connect it to the 4 quadrants, right? And the fact that people are free to make their own choices, and that no one else is responsible to meet my needs. And feelings and accusations is like the wrong, ignore, poor me threat, because I am handing you the ammunition to come back at me with, because I made you wrong for something. I'm accusing you of something, instead of just saying, this is how I feel when something like this happens, regardless of you. It's anybody. It's not personal to you. When this happens with anybody, this is how I feel. And then fact and fiction. Fact and fiction is really important, because our minds are making up stuff all the time, and we don't even realize when we are in a conflict with someone. And conflict is just someone has needs and they're bumping up against each other, and you just want to go into a collaboration and figure out how to solve it. Conflict is not bad, unless it escalates into people bombing each other and shooting each other and all that. That conflict is bad. But conflict is just, hey, I noticed that I keep taking out the dish rack and you keep putting it away. Okay, so let's talk about it and figure out what we want to do about it. I mean, it's a very little thing, right? Then there is, every week I'm buying cookies and I want to have them for the rest of the week, and by Tuesday somebody's eaten them already. Okay, so let's talk about how we're going to do this, right? Maybe we're going to figure out that you're going to leave me some money, so when I buy cookies, I'll buy extra cookies. Or maybe you're going to go take care of buying your own cookies. Or, whatever it is, you're going to collaborate and figure out. So you could actually exchange the word conflict for collaboration. You can look at it as an opportunity to come up with something that's going to lift both your lives. Conflict can actually be something you look forward to. It can be a really, really good thing. Because when you have it and you're thinking, I'm not getting this need met, and you go to that person and you start talking, you might find out some things about that person you never knew before that can actually deepen your relationship. You have more understanding for each other. But if you think, oh, conflict, oh no, it's terrible, we can't have it, we're just going to argue and fight and not get through it, then you're not going to talk, and you're going to put walls up between each other, and you're going to have misunderstandings, and it's going to escalate, and it's going to run into all the little things you do. Oh, one more thing. Oh, look at that too. And all this stuff that's building up till you just go, I can't take this anymore. But if you can start looking forward to conflict and start realizing that when you collaborate, you deepen the relationship, then it actually becomes where you don't see it as a negative thing, where you actually see it as, here's an opportunity for us to come together on something, to talk with each other, and instead of all these things building up, you actually make more of a connection and your relationship gets deepened. The thing is, people are afraid to talk with each other because they don't know these distinctions, because they learn from their parents, who learn from their parents, who learn from their parents back to the days when people were chopping each other's heads off because they couldn't get along, they couldn't communicate with each other. And that stuff has just got passed on, and people just think like, oh, other people suck, you know, because they don't know these distinctions. They don't realize when they say, you know, when you're a jerk, I feel angry because you're not a jerk. You're just doing something that I don't understand as of yet. Okay, so these distinctions are really important. So we're not handing someone the ammunition to come back at us with. We're not offending someone. We're not making them wrong. We're just stating that here's something we can talk about and figure out where we're at. And if you know this stuff, it's so good, because when you're choosing a relationship or who's going to be your friends, you want to be aware of this stuff, because if someone's either willing to learn it, or they already know it, or they don't make these mistakes about saying argumentative accusations and or, you know, seeing labeling something what it's not. Like, it is dirty shoes by the door. It's not disrespect. It is dirty shoes by the door. It's not you're a slob. It is dirty shoes by the door. It's not you're stupid, right? So we add all this stuff to it. And if someone knows not to add that stuff and not to accuse and say, I feel attacked, or I feel violated, or I feel all these things, and the other person starts, I didn't do that to you. I didn't mean to do that for you. I wasn't even thinking about it. It just, you know. So we're not throwing a bunch of stuff on someone that makes them feel attacked, right? And then we help them to understand that I get that my need is my need. I'm sharing it with you just in case you want to help me with it. If you don't, I'll get it met some other way. I'll hire a maid and take it out of your rent money or whatever. I'll hire a maid. You know, I'll get it handled. We will find a way. We will find a solution that works for everybody. Okay? But I'm just sharing it with you now, because since you're the one who could possibly get it fixed, then it's good. And then I won't have that need anymore. The need will be met. Eckhart Tolle talks about, actually, I don't want this to run too long. I will say, Eckhart Tolle talks about, instead of complaining, if you're complaining to someone who can get it fixed, great. But if you're just complaining for the sake of complaining, then that's not helping anybody. So you let someone know you have a need. They might be able to help you fix it. And if they don't, you don't blame them for not being able to fix it. And then making your clear, clean, smart requests so you can then have gratitude when they do, and then that lifts a relationship too. Okay, I want to keep this video fairly short. You understand the framework of this. I'm going to say more in some other videos, but that is nonviolent communication. And look for the fact, fiction, feelings, accusations, my needs are my responsibility, and the request reply on some other videos. I'm Tia Turnbull, your champion of champions. This is Keep It 100. If you'd like to get more of these videos sent to your inbox, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and tap the bell, and they will be sent to you. Until then, champion yourself to be a champion.